Meteorologist Casey Cloud back here in Northern Center on this Sunday night, tracking a severe the threat in towards southwestern Georgia. A severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect about 10:15 here for portions of Baker, as well as it looks like over toward Calhoun, Doherty, Early, Lee, Mitchell, and Terrell counties there, southwestern Georgia and Albany. Looking like really what we're kind of watching this threat maybe try to come into play here as we're looking. You can kind of see some of these winds here, potentially trying to come into toward 10. They don't look that strong in velocity, but seeing some higher values here a little while ago. Not confident enough that these are weakening on down here to kind of let our guard down in Albany, because with a storm out ahead, which it could kind of cause some weakening, but also as these areas kind of merge, it could be an issue here as we look toward Albany here over the next few moments. So it's a bit thunderstorm warning in play about 10:15. Looking at areas like Newton, Morgan, Albany, Blakely, Dawson, Leesburg, Putney, Camilla, Edison, Arlington, over toward Baconton, Columbia, Leary, Smithville, East Albany, the Marine Corps Logistics Base, Turner City, Walker, Douglasville, and Centerville. So I know we're getting reports out of Terrell County, the UGA Mesonet site gusted to 40 miles an hour here just a little while ago. So that's some information just coming on in here, and you can kind of see here northwest of Albany a little bit of wind enhancement, so this could cause some damage into toward town over in the next little bit around Albany there in Doherty County, so gotta be careful. I know we have some strong storms up toward Cordell and Crisp County. That's not in our covered area though, but might have some viewers up there watching, give you guys a quick update there. Could get some of those gusty winds there as you're looking toward I-75. But also just continuing again to watch our storms here in our covered area. Of course, just reminding you guys of the covered area here. Let me go ahead and go on over toward our coverage map here and kind of reiterate that to you guys, the viewers at home. You can see here we're talking about again Baker and Georgia, Calhoun, Doherty, Early, Lee, Mitchell counties there under this warning, as well as Terrell for another about 40 minutes or so. So gotta be cognizant in case these winds are reaching. I see Dawson now, the UGA station gusted to 47 miles an hour there in that vicinity at 9:23. So just getting that word here into the weather center. Some stronger gusts, not maybe severe officially, but those are enough at certain heights definitely to cause some damage. So gotta be mindful of that here. Gotta be mindful of that as we're looking across the viewing area right now. Let's go ahead and see here what we're doing with some other views. I know we had those tornado warnings in Illinois earlier on. Right now there's a severe thunderstorm warning to the south toward Mount Vernon. Looking there, that's closer toward the heartland. Not seeing much rotation with that based on the statement from the Weather Service. There may be a little bit, but I haven't really dove into that too much. You see some other storms up there in Illinois that have that little hook safe to them. And there is still a tornado watch in play, which is kind of unusual for this time of year until 10 o'clock Central Time in that yellow shaded area there. But I know tomorrow there's going to be a bigger risk, an enhanced risk from East Alabama all the way to about areas around Philadelphia, which is very unusual, more for wind, but some tornadoes, especially in the northern edge there, that could be possible. Even in like toward the south there, I was looking at some parameters a little while ago in between updates. I mean, we could have some type of threats there as we're looking over like Tennessee and North Georgia even. So that's something to kind of bear in mind as we look ahead toward that Monday there. I know looking even South Georgia, there could be a damaging wind risk there in play as well. But I know just be kind of interesting watching areas like North Carolina around the western part of the state even. Could have some type of threats come into play. So we'll be mindful of that, obviously, here from that national standpoint. But local is what matters most. And to us here, our 62 counties, and that's what we're on right now for this severe thunderstorm warning. As we're looking toward the Albany area, some heavy downpours, some lightning mixing on in toward this area. We'll keep watching. And I see a new tornado watch list being issued actually just now, just to the east for southern Indiana and north central Kentucky until about 5 a.m. Eastern time from the national standpoint. That does include Evansville. It also includes Louisville there. It'll kind of show it up on our map. You can kind of see what I'm talking about. So Again, that's a threat there. Some tornadic activity up toward areas there, northern edges. That's Bloomington, Terre Haute, Indiana, in there as well. So that's a big national story there. But local is what we're really focusing on right now. Again, I continue to watch this progress of the storms into Albany here, into Dougherty County. You can see some brighter green showing up right here. Wind over 40 showing up. So it could be, I mean, in theory, some damage here into some of these different communities as we're looking there. Just west of Albany, just southwest of Leesburg seems to be the focal point, but it could be reaching anywhere in this line. That's why the warning covers such a wide area here until about 10:15. That just seems like that'd be the point where it's more likely. So again, continuing to watch things here in the Weather Center. It's a bit thunderstorm warning about 10:15 here in play for some of these areas as we are kind of giving you the latest details here. We're just going to go ahead and continue to give you the latest updates on what's happening here for sure as that timeline does continue to progress on us here. Again, you can see some stronger winds here just about to come in toward Albany there. More populated part of town even. So cause a little bit of damage there. I mean, we're getting in towards some of these areas there. Like Westover Road, Dawson Road there. US 82. So these are some stronger winds coming on in here over the next few moments. So gotta be taking precaution from those here in the Weather Center as we're watching. That's what we're urging you guys to do. So again, watching that threat there in or south of western Georgia right now. There's stronger winds moving on in here and toward northern Dougherty County over the next few minutes. You can see here that push. I mean, some of that wind actually on that loop. You can see it maybe aiming a little further south even. That's kind of worth noting. You know, we had some of that wind around Dawson a little while ago, and now it looks like some of that wind, despite the warning saying an easterly trajectory at points here, some of those warnings saying that, I know, and advisory. This one actually said more southeast, so that's where we need to kind of watch things then maybe a little bit further on over on the west side of Albany then. I mean, definitely still going to get some gusty winds, though, in toward town there. I mean, you're starting to get some of those around Dawson and Westover, but maybe not as far east there, depending on what you're looking at. But this other storm out ahead looks like it's providing some pretty nasty wind energy in and of itself now. So that's why the warning covers the whole area there. Now that's moving a little more easterly, it looks like, that one there. As we're tracking it further over, this one's moving a little more southerly, southeasterly here. This one's moving more easterly, but they can ultimately merge here pretty soon. Some gusty winds around Leesburg as well and toward Lee County. So again, that's something to kind of be mindful of here. Be mindful of as we're looking at the latest picture on what's going on. Again, trying to give you guys the very latest to protect you, protect your friends, protect your family. You can see here, this is the latest scan. These brighter winds here showing up on Doppler, kind of on the west side of Albany here. You can see some more buildings in there and the like, more population potentially being impacted. Keep in mind there could be some radar displacement going on as well here because we're a little bit further away. The radar's way over in Alabama. That is the best for this area here. They're from the National Weather Service set of tools. So again, just continuing to watch here, continuing to track around Albany and Dougherty County. You can see here some brighter colors on the velocity scan. We're continuing to give you guys the latest to protect you, protect your friends, protect your family here. Just bear with me. I'm checking all our different sources here, all of our different tools in the toolkit here. So again, let me go ahead and kind of zoom back out just a little bit. I know we had a warning here earlier toward Albany, but it did not cover as much spatial area as this one does. So this is a little more cause for concern. So this is kind of something to bear in mind as we're looking here toward Dougherty County, Lee County in there as well. Leesburg, you're into this. So some nasty weather had reported some damage in Lee County earlier that we were keeping tabs on. So just continuing to watch things here. Let me go ahead and just keep on looking at things. Let me go ahead and keep on looking at things here in the Weather Center as we look at some of the different information coming on in. I know that report out of Lee County, Georgia earlier on. It was touching on an area there as we got on in there toward it's about 2 miles east northeast of Forester. A tree was blown down there with a power outage affected about 140 customers or so near Lovers Lane Road and Churchill Circle. So I'm taking note of that. I just got another update on this warning now with Weather Service in Tallahassee. So they dropped Early County, but still Daugherty, Northern Mitchell, Lee, Baker, Eastern Calhoun, and southeastern Terrell counties under this warning until about 10:15. At 9:41, a severe thunderstorm line here was located from near Leslie to 10 miles south of Leary, moving east at 45 miles an hour. Newton, Morgan, Albany, Leesburg, Putney, Camilla, Baconton, Leary, Smithfield, East Albany, Marine Corps Logistics Base, Turner City, Walker, Sale City, Stafford, Aurora, Brownwood there, Ivy's Mill, Stocks, Radium Springs, and Lester all under this. So gotta be careful. Got some stronger winds on the east side of town too, that other area. I know the Moore Fine line is out here from Leesburg, and this has been kind of pushing. This is pushing southeast to this area here. That could be an issue because we were talking about how it was looking like maybe this would kind of go south there a little bit, maybe downtown, but in this area might make up the difference. So a lot of areas, this could produce some damage. This could produce some damage up here. So could this area here. So a few different areas of potential damage production possible in and around Daugherty and Lee counties at this present time. Can't guarantee it, but could have some power outages setting on up there in that part of the covered area. So gotta be mindful of that here. Gotta be mindful of that as we continue to give you guys the very latest here at 9:44 on this Sunday night. I know in Georgia, from 20,000 customers in the dark from power outages tonight. It's looking like a situation though. Looking like a situation though where we end up having some of these outages here. Some of these outages more in other parts of the state, not necessarily where our covered area, but 834 customers in the dark in Tift County, 328 in Winter County, 233 in Coffee County, 173 in Randolph County. So you have to see 100, looks like, let's see here. Okay, 187 in Pierce County. So we're kind of jumping all around here on our maps, but you kind of get the idea. So again, some nastier winds around Albany. I don't know if these are severe, but we just don't have a good look at this down to the surface. And since some of this did cause damage earlier on, it's worth noting here some of this damage potential in toward this area. Let's go to instability. We are losing some of that instability here, it looks like, which is good. Hopefully, we'll have this continue. We were thinking about not jumping back on, but with the population density here, I thought it was important just in case something were to happen. I know we have an advisory now. Further to the east, there's a little more instability to the east, actually. Advisory just being issued now for areas of Nassau, Brantley, Camden, Glenn counties, Charlton County, and there even Ware County of 1045. So strong thunderstorm being indicated there. Up to maybe winds to 50 with that. St. Mary's, Kingsland, Brunswick, St. Simon's Island, Fernandina Beach, Folkestone, Woodbine, Nahunadok, Junction, Keens Bay Base. I know it's a situation over that way. Haven't had as much rain today, so a little more untapped in the environment, but more tapped into as we get back off toward the west here. Further off toward the west, seeing things a little bit more tapped into on this Sunday night. So let's go ahead and jump back over here. Again, looking at things around Albany and Daugherty County. You can see some of the stronger winds there moving on in. Could be causing some damage here around town right now as we're looking further on over toward the west. So just trying to give you the latest on what's going on here. I'm trying to give you the latest updates. You can see here that big yellow box in play for another 28 minutes. There is some damaging wind potential. So again, just continuing to watch things here. Baker County, Georgia, northwest of Newton. You see some wind enhancements, but coming closer to town. You have Putney there, and you have Albany again. we talked about it here with this wind energy could be causing some issues. I know we also mentioned it earlier tomorrow, but there's going to be an excessive heat warning in play as we're looking ahead as we get toward that August 7th because of those really high heat index values. It's high as 116. Could have that. I mean, that was just by Tallahassee's office, but it could end up being one where we have an excessive heat warning even issued for some of the Jacksonville area counties. So, got to keep that in mind. Got to keep that in mind here for sure. So, also the national standpoint, we're watching things. I don't know what you can see all these severe thunderstorm warnings popping up there, and just continuing to watch. I think the Evansville radar may be down, so let's see what radar we should go to. Let's try this radar. It's pretty far away, but got some severe thunderstorm warnings here in play near I-70, and see a bunch of them scattered there across. No tornado warnings right now, but we'll just continue to watch that national storyline here too. Let's get back local though. That's what matters to us most here in the Weather Center. Tallahassee's radar in some ways could be closer according to our system now. And that is some more well-defined wind along the line. West side of Leesburg, there you see it. I mean, some of this isn't going to reach further back, but some of this could be reaching here for sure. As you get towards some of these areas, 50-mile-an-hour winds, not out of the question according to this modem Doppler. And that would cause some damage potentially around Albany here. Be interesting to see if we get a wind reading out of Albany over the next few moments. Be kind of interesting to get an idea on here. I just pulsed up a good bit. That's right near the airport. Let me see. How far is that from there? Okay, just north of there a bit. It was 80 degrees last check there. But we'll be curious to see if there's a wind number that comes out of here. I mean, maybe displaced a little. If there's some displacement, it could actually right there. That looks like it could cause some damage. That really looks pretty nasty there on this. So this is a radar. It's about 7,000 feet. I mean, certain parts of this are closer on to Fort Rucker. I mean, that's actually more like 6,000. It's just the center of the polygon is closer to Tallahassee. So it's a little tricky. Somewhere in between those two probably. But I mean, this isn't that much different, and the angle here is a chance that the angle on the other might be a little distorted. If this is reading this better, this could be causing some damage right around Albany right now. Looking there between a Westover Road and looks like getting in there Dawson Road. This could be causing some damage right now in toward Albany. These type of winds closer to 60. These brighter colors here on a velocity scan coming right into town right now. In Albany. So again, that little, the way that's kind of angled there too, that could help potentially get some of that wind down there toward the surface. So got to be mindful of that as we're looking toward that area. Let's see here. Latest update on this warning there from, looks like Donald Van Dyke, the meteorologist issuing this and some of the other warnings there out of Tallahassee. This warning does continue for Newton, Morgan, Albany, Leesburg, Putney, Camilla, Baconton, Leary, Smithville, East Albany, the Marine Corps Logistics Base, Turner City, Walker, Sales City, Sasser, Brownwood. I think it's Brownwood, actually, that makes more sense. Ivy's Mill, Stocks, Radium Springs, and Leicester. A little bit of, look like almost on radar, maybe a little velocity, but not much. A little bit of weak rotation, not really much on velocity, but a little bit of a hook on that. But we're seeing some rotation with that. I'd be a little more concerned. But okay, new warning now because they're seeing the level of concern stay elevated here. This goes to 11:15 now. As we're watching things, and the models have ruined the ARRR model. It's been having trouble today. Let's just say that. So earlier on in the day, it showed the storms in Georgia late tonight, but that was it. It wasn't showing the storms earlier on. Then it got rid of everything, but we ended up having storms earlier on across our western counties and now around in Georgia. So it's having trouble. But anyway, 11:15 now. Severe thunderstorm warning in play. It looks like at 9:51. This warning was issued for northwestern Irwin County, Turner County, Colquitt County, Tift County, northwestern Ben Hill, and Worth County as well. At 9:51, severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending from 8 miles northeast of Leesburg to 8 miles west of Newton, moving east at 40 miles an hour. So Tifton, Moultrie, over toward Ashburn there, Sylvester, Norman Park, Dolan, Ty, Phillipsburg, Unionville, Riverside, Worth, Terrell, Sly, Sycamore, Berlin, Funston, Sumner, and Warwick under this here in South Georgia. So just going to keep watching. That's impressive here, not in a good way from this radar right now. This radar. So again, going to keep watching things here on Albany, around Albany right now, and toward Dougherty County. This could be causing some damage. Let's see if we can get some power outage numbers, because at least this radar view is showing a pretty impressive signature right into town. And I know the other view not as much, but I don't think there's that much of a difference. I would kind of tend to believe this is a little more accurate here. But so far, we have 0 power outages in the city of Albany as of 9:53. So maybe not. If we see a situation here, we don't really see an escalation on the city of Albany power grid, and maybe something when we wrap this up, because I know we've given you the heads up for Tipton, Moultrie, Ashburn here. We'll stick with it a little longer. I'm hoping we don't get the damage in Albany. I suspect we will. But if we don't get many power outages in Albany, then maybe the winds aren't reaching, and the Fort Rucker radar is giving us a better indication of the wind toward the surface. But right now we're going to stick with this, as this comes right through Albany here. East side of Albany, even getting into some of this. I know there's some mergers going on that can occasionally cause some rotation to become a little more prevalent here. Some greens and reds, nothing overwhelming, but we're looking so high. Don't know if we'd see much, honestly, if something came together at that microscale level for a moment. So got to keep that in mind, too, as we're looking toward Dougherty County right now. Let's go ahead and zoom back out. You can see there's some advisories further over in southeast Georgia where there's more instability. Not maybe as much in the way of forcing, but actually got some interesting areas here. A little surprising, actually, to me, but we have some areas of weak rotation there in toward Glenn County, and then it's that side of the area in toward McIntosh County. The Charleston office mentioning that, so let's just go ahead and keep watching things there. I don't think there's a lot with this in terms of maybe like a tornado threat, but some wind damage could occur here, I'd say. Even, I mean, you see quite a bit. This is interesting. We're seeing a little bit of turbulence here in the setup. I mean, you see, we saw this the other day a little bit in Oklahoma. Yesterday morning, I've been so busy lately, hard to keep the days apart. But early yesterday, I guess it was, going toward Tulsa, we had some stuff there that was kind of similar to this in some ways. I mean, there's not too much rain with it like this on the southern flank, maybe less rain than this, and it's interesting to see. This could cause a little bit of damage there toward Brunswick and Woodbine. Hadn't had much over there at all, if anything, today. So a little more untapped atmospheric setup as we're looking over toward the I-95 corridor. Let's go back to the west. Okay, we did get a gust of 38 at the airport there. So honestly, that kind of, let me check these numbers. I'm curious on this, because that could kind of tell us how we need to approach this and that in the power outages. So this was here, this went to about 45 right there at the airport. And then I'm going to see what Fort Rucker was showing. I mean, it varies angles and the like, but I want to see what Fort Rucker was showing about the time. So it was showing when it's about 25. So yes, splitting the difference between the two radars, at least for that spot, worked pretty good here. So the current scan, we're seeing winds about 30 in here on the Fort Rucker. And then on our other radar out of Tallahassee, I mean, this isn't going to work everywhere, obviously, but we're seeing winds like 50. So winds to about 40, meaning maybe some damage, but not really getting really severe winds, but it could vary by location. There's always a chance another anemometer could pick up a wind higher than that. So you never know here. It's tricky. It's not as simple as it sounds sometimes here in the meteorology world. I mean, it's complicated the way the winds reach in some spots, not other areas, though. So again, just something to kind of keep in mind as we watch things here across the viewing circle. So again, you see just east of Albany there, moving toward the Acre area. There's some enhancement with this as well. You see Sylvester, Ashburn, Tipton, Moultrie under warning to 11:15. We may not stick with it that long, depending on what we see on some things. We're going to give you the heads up. We're giving you the heads up here now for those areas there in the word Arlo, Turner, Colquitt, Tipton, Hill, and Worth counties. Could be some more threats later on. The storm's moving east at 40. Hopefully the instability being a little bit less over that helps us out some. there's not a lot of visibility for this time of year out there. So I know. Let's go ahead and check our other mode. You see our instability charts here. I know I'm also seeing information of a tornado that hit in Illinois, Christian County. Apparently, there's numerous trees and power poles that were snapped, in addition to several homes and garages damaged along 16, looks like 1600 East Road, so 3 miles northeast of Taylorville. So we were tracking from that earlier on in our local coverage. We gave you some perspective on that, though. Let's see what this is. I mean, let's make sure we don't have any rotation with anything here. I know we kind of do, but I was looking at the southern flank. Weren't really seeing it there, thankfully. So that's interesting. There's a lot of instability over here. I don't think we'll get anything out of this, but maybe a wind damage report, maybe a thunderstorm warning to the east, but we're not really seeing a tornado threat around here, by the way. Not really seeing a tornado threat around here. I don't want to scare you or anything, but what I'm saying is just we're seeing a little boundary here. This could produce some damage in winds, possibly. Thalman there, Woodbine, and Brunswick, St. Mary's here. Next little bit, I mean, it may not be as much rain as it is just wind. Hopefully not damaging wind, but again, I want to check here. Let's go back to our warnings for the west. This says Moody's radar is a little bit closer as we look for a warning to the east anyway. And this shows some really strong wind coming across Albany, right over town, not as much at the airport. Let me go through the loop there, but yeah, it's showing wind there to about 30, but in town it's showing wind to 58, which is severe. So again, different perspectives. I know another thing that's worth mentioning here, we don't have access to it here, but I know WLB and then the ABC station in Columbus, Georgia, are both owned by Gray. They have their own radar now, so they're able to actually see. Some of the winds in here lower down to the ground. That radar not too far up the road from here, so that's helpful there in general. But so maybe getting a little bit better perspective on this. But again, that's something there that we can't actually see on the air or actually even look at here. But it's just, I mean, the more radars you have in general, the better. So again, let me go ahead and continue to watch things here in the Weather Center right now. Still no power outages showing up in Albany, which is interesting. I mean, there's always a small chance with this. I mean, for one, it's either not reaching, or maybe it's just the issue is going to be delayed a few minutes, or maybe we had a lot of power outages and the system's down. That can always happen here too. So, gotta bear that in mind, and that's why I want to give it a few more minutes to make sure that's not the case. Because, never know here. But I'm looking at some of our outages. 76 customers in Dark and Quitman County, 174 in Randolph, 57 in Terrell, 164 in Darty, 289 in Lee. So there are some outages around there. Just not on the Albany grid so far. Quite a few outages in Georgia here. 185 in Pierce, 329 in Ware. I'm just kind of going around and around here. That's in Tiff County, 753. We're talking about some of that there at the evening toward that area. There's another threat there. Moving toward Tiff County over the next little bit. If this were to hold together roll-on time, maybe a day later, gets into the axe, and we'll see. That's after maybe 11:15. If that does hold together your way with the instability levels a little lower, hopefully it doesn't hold together severe that long, but we'll just have to wait and see. So that's something I'll be monitoring. Let me check our city of Albany power numbers here again. Bear with me here. I just need to see if you have any questions for me. I'll check that here. I can't keep it up the whole time, but I'll check that here in a moment as well. Still no customers in the dark out of 32,101 around Albany, which is a good sign so far, but need to give it a few more minutes here. Make sure that that's what's going on there for sure. Going toward that area. No questions right now, but again, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for trusting me here on this Sunday night. So let me go ahead and just see what we have here. Let me see what we have. Nothing new there. Again, still no customers out on the city of Albany's electric out of over 32,000, which you would think if these winds are really nasty coming through there, you'd have some in the dark there, at least. Got a strong storm down toward Flagler County. Let's mention that real quick and say you guys that. Right near the coast now around Beverly Beach and Flagler Beach. And some of these areas didn't really have the storms today, so some untapped potential being tapped into now. So at 10:02, Doppler was tracking a strong thunderstorm that was near Flagler Beach, moving southeast at 15 miles an hour. So Palm Coast, Flagler Beach, and Beverly Beach under that warning. A little bit of a hook on here. I'm not really seeing rotation with it, but I mean, I suppose you could get a water spout once it's got over the water with a storm like that. Well, hopefully nothing over land. We'll watch it. You see the storms in Georgia there. You see some areas of green showing up. A stronger gust there. Let me keep looking at some of our different information. Let's take the Tallahassee view on this velocity here. Winds 45, 50 miles an hour from Leesburg through Albany down toward Camilla. Possible anyway. Again, let me keep checking our different power outage numbers here. Trying to give you the latest on what's going on. Still no customers out according to the city of Albany, so that's a good sign at the initial stage here, but there's always a chance that we could still get some here. Again, I mean, we have some outages in other spots, so you just have to kind of be careful here. I mean, our aggregate maps are showing some, not anything overwhelming, but there are a few here and there, so got to be kind of mindful of that. Okay, new warning now. This is in Mitchell County. It's a bit thunderstorm warning. Let's see, that's to 10:45 now. So this is kind of spreading further south according to the Weather Service. They've had to issue a new polygon here. 60-mile-an-hour winds. Let me go over to some other sources. Just kind of had to fill the gap here a little bit. See, there you go. You can see it just south of Camilla. You can see it there around Pelham. That indicates to me, generally, that's indicating more of a wind threat then to them there. If that is indeed something, I mean, they're having to do. I mean, that kind of means here that there may be more of a threat toward the Pelham area here over the next little bit. Don't want to let your guard down there then. I don't want to lay your guard down there because generally they wouldn't issue in that small unless they really thought these winds were reaching. That could be an issue then. Just continuing to watch things here in the weather center. See around Sylvester, these winds are starting to move there your way now. You have Ashburn, Tipton, as well as Moultrie. Look at these different counties: Ben Hill, Colquitt, Irwin, Tip, Turner, and Worth. Until 11:15. So again, continuing to watch things here. All of our different communities being impacted by these winds. Winds to about 50 there. Possible northwest of Camilla. Again, multiple severe thunderstorm warnings on the board right now that we're continuing to keep tabs on here on this Sunday night. Let me check some more outage numbers here. Bear with me. Okay, still no outages so far showing up around the city of Albany. But again, a new warning being issued further south now. When I say city of Albany, I mean city of Albany Electric. There may be some outages on some other grids, but seeing some different things in that area on those, but not on that one. Which again, it's a little surprising, but let's just keep watching things. You see around Akery and Sylvester there. You see around Baconton, you see Camilla. Some stronger winds coming into the picture there. Just gotta be mindful as we're looking toward those spots in the viewing circle. I mean, eventually these storms should fall off here in intensity as they kind of track. I mean, that's something to keep our eyes on. Something to keep our eyes on here. We'll want to monitor things as that timeline goes along. because we're seeing less instability out here. I mean, temperatures are only at 75. The Tipton already had storms earlier. Moultrie's at 78. Those aren't necessarily the most prime conditions for stuff like this. I mean, you have a little bit warmer conditions to the south here. We really hadn't got these storms today. Look at 12-hour rainfall. I mean, you're seeing some stuff now, but that's the last hour. Not much across areas of northeast Florida and North Central. We had some stuff downstate earlier. I know reports there, like Hernando County had some heavy rain down there, right near areas around Weeki Wachee and northwest of there. But unless your 12-hour rainfall around Weeki Wachee proper, at least in the last 12 hours, and maybe not too much right in town, but closer to the coast, ½ inch, and northwestern Hernando, a few areas there getting closer to about 2 inches. But as you can see here, again, this is your rainfall for the last 12 hours, not as much further up here. So again, continuing to watch things here on our Doppler. I know we don't officially cover Weeki Wachee. I was just kind of showing you guys that because there's so many more, some rain concentrating out of the area. And then in our area, you saw it further to the north, but not as much across north central Florida. Again, let's get back to southeast Georgia. Now you see some stronger wind moving over Brunswick and into Woodbine now. In Camden County, winds maybe upward of 50 miles an hour possible. Those aren't officially severe. 58 is when you really start to have that higher concern. Increases there is like an earthquake there, like a magnitude of earthquake. Things increase there exponentially there. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. So gust 20 and latest observation from the airport. Again, these winds off of Moody were much stronger than that right through Albany. This said winds to 60 coming right through town. So again, you would think if these winds were really reaching like that, and we'd see a bunch of outages like 1,000 or 2,000 in Albany. Let me check again. Still none, which is good news, obviously. It just, I'm going to keep checking some other sources there to make sure that's accurate. I mean, that's good if that's the case. That'd be very good. Let me keep checking the Georgia outages here. Again, the aggregate map doesn't take that grid into consideration, but 211 customers in total out in Dougherty County. Over 1,000 in the Dark and Tiff County. They got hit pretty hard earlier. 1,141. 222 in Lee County, 174 in Randolph, 76 in Quitman. I mean, you can go to Ware County, just outages, Brantley County. You kind of get the idea. Pierce County, some outages as well. And there's several counties in Georgia with outages. Didn't have as many in our Florida counties from the storms here that I saw. I'll check again though, just to make sure that we're giving you guys the very latest here on what's going on. Again, another over 34,000, almost 35,000 customers in the dark in Alabama. Looking here, Florida, not many in Leon, only 5, 2 in McCullough at this point. So we're seeing some numbers though. We're looking at things with some outages higher than that. We did have those higher than that, in fact, as I was looking earlier on in the timeline. And then I know I was seeing different reporting coming on out. Make sure I get this right here on the air before I go over it. Don't want to get something like this wrong here, so bear with me. Bear with me just a second. I need to make sure I get the source for this. These winds are really causing a problem though. Further on out toward the west earlier on. Definitely causing some problems as we were looking there. So let me get some information for you guys. Let me get some information there out of WTVA television, I believe it is. There in Tupelo. I saw this earlier come across. And there were 2 people that got killed there in one of the counties in that region because of a tree falling on a car east of the community of Houston, Mississippi. So a storm's turning deadly there in Mississippi earlier today. 2 people losing their life according to WTVA television there. In the Tupelo, Columbus area. An accident happening with the severe winds knocking a tree on a vehicle. So, I hate hearing stuff like that. So that's why we got to be careful. These severe storms around here, strong storms around here, that can happen occasionally around in our communities as well. Getting a report out of Nahana, 44 mile an hour, gust there at 9:45 in Brantley County. It's the Nahana Mesonet station, but not right in Nahana there. So just kind of giving you perspective. Again, I've seen some of these stronger winds now here. Let me check some other scans. I don't know if it's much lightning with this as maybe we had earlier on. That could indicate some weakening here. Let me go ahead and check on this. I'm going to go ahead and check on this other mode here. You can see some stronger storms southeast Georgia. Severe storms further out toward the west. They don't look as robust maybe as earlier on. It's good infrared satellite. You still see colder cloud tops though. I mean, a few different areas really. But yeah, the ones in the southwest are the coldest, more indicative of a stronger activity. So again, that's the storyline right now. Okay, we're at 10:13. We're going to gather more details. We'll be back about 10:20 with more information. So keep it tuned to Cloud Weather. We're going to keep you guys updated with severe thunderstorm warnings continuing across some of our Georgia counties. meteorologist Casey Cloud back here with us at 10:20 on this Sunday night. So there's two yellow boxes on the screen that continue in effect here for the next little bit. So we have thunderstorm warning for areas of Mitchell County until about 10:45, and then Ben Hill, Colquitt, Irwin, Tiff, Turner, and Worth until about 11:15. So just make sure you stand inside, getting away from windows here in toward these areas. You see Augusta 32 around Camilla. Just a few moments ago. I mean, not severe, but those could still cause damage. Some areas there could be getting a severe gust. Can't rule it out. Just got to be careful as I'm looking at some of our latest information coming on in right now. Just bear with me here. Again, checking all my different resources that I have at my disposal here at this point. We're going to go ahead and check that Albany, Georgia power outage map again here. Still not seeing any customers in the dark, so that's interesting. That makes me think that's good news, but we are seeing outages in and around some of those spots there, so you just never know as we're looking over that spot. We're seeing less lightning with this too, so I'm hoping these are more just strong and not severe storms anymore, but let's take it a little longer here. You see Camilla here, these winds coming through town right now in Mitchell County. You see Pelham. Maybe some gustier winds, Sylvester there, right along US 82 there, some gustier winds coming through, maybe just south there. Gonna have some winds toward Tipton over the next little bit, maybe not severe, but still interesting. And maybe causing a little bit of damage. Moultrie there, you see Aspirin there toward I-75. So again, some nastier conditions here. Moving to South Georgia. I know that warning from Mitchell for another 23 minutes. One for Irwin, areas of Irwin, as well as it looks like Turner, Colquitt, Tiff, Ben Hill, and Worth until 11:15. Okay, we're just getting word now out of Doherty County, not maybe right in town, but 3 miles southwest of Palmyra. A power line was blown down along Old Dawson Road, so interpreted some of those outages there on Power.us on the aggregate map there. Again, 3 miles southwest of Palmyra. Doherty County, a power line blown down along Old Dawson Road. So, again, getting some damage from some of these storms coming on through here. Again, in this round, we had damage earlier on, and that adds to the list. So, again, a pretty active day here across the area. Today was not maybe supposed to be as active here. It was looking like earlier on in the timeline, and then things changed on us here, like they do a lot of times. This time of year, things escalated here. We didn't officially have a risk in play there on that outlook last night for today. This morning we started, the first outlook, I should say, let me clarify that. So our first outlook yesterday, we didn't have a risk in play for today, but then on the one there later on in the day, we had a day 2 there they had to correct, so it came out a little later, but did start clipping some of our counties, and it kept getting more and more into water area as we progressed in the timeline. So again, seeing quite a few wind damage reports. Let me go ahead and go over some of these here. Again, looking there right now, some of these storm reports, a lot more in northern Alabama. And again, we had the fatalities there in Mississippi as we reported there. The station in Tupelo, NBC, ABC, Fox there, that grouping reporting that earlier on. But again, just seeing the winds proved to be deadly with a tree falling on a vehicle. But again, looking there, we've had trees blown down as well. So far, I haven't heard of any injuries or fatalities, but not as much in the way of those. But we had winds there, trees down, caused by thunderstorm winds around Pridgeon there in Coffee County, Georgia. Also in Tiff County, we had a tree blown down on Love Avenue. Brooks County, multiple trees reported down. So it started to escalate here after a while. Earlier on, not as many. One tree blown down in Leon County, reported in anyway. 1 mile southeast of Tom Brown Park. We had multiple, though, in North McCullough, near Lawhine Mill Road and South Choppy Highway. We also had issues there as we looked. I mean, some areas in between. I think we had Liberty County, and they had some reported issues there as well. So again, just kind of taking note of that, making note of that. So we're approaching 10:30. If I don't get anything new here, I have a feeling these storms will weaken, and I can't guarantee it. These could still cause some problems. I don't know if they're going to actually maybe be able to cause a lot of damage or just severe winds officially. but they could cause a little bit of damage here. But I really don't think we're getting winds to 60. There's less lightning here. And again, I didn't really get a power outage right in Albany, so you can see some gusty winds around Bridgeboro. Maybe the 50 still sun up off the Moody site, though. And still be careful here. Situation where I started you to be careful, but yet I don't think it's as necessarily prevalent enough here for us to stick with, as, I mean, at this point, you're pretty much into severe storm threats this time of year. You kind of should get an idea here of what to expect to some degree. I mean, the impact can vary from time to time, but whenever thunder roars, go indoors. Just keep that in mind here. You see around Camilla, seeing that gust 32 earlier on. You see Dover in there. You see Ty. Again, you see the word I-75. We have those threats. You have some stronger storms. Camden, Glenn County, not officially severe. Not seeing quite as much on velocity as we did earlier on. In Flagler County, I guess there, not too high. Some winds there, maybe right around I-95. And just east of Corona as well, but nothing officially severe out there. So again, nothing around Stark or Gainesville or anything like that either. So that's good news as we go ahead and continue to watch things here. Continue to give you guys the latest on what's going on. We're at 10:26 on that timeline. 10:26 here on that timeline. Let me go ahead. Okay, still no outages, no customers in the dark. So that's some good news here. That's some good news. So not as much lightning. Still got to be careful on Tipton. There was some damage in Tipton County earlier on. So just make sure whenever that thunder roar is going towards something that could have been vulnerable from earlier on, maybe it falls now here in this round of storms. They got to be careful. Although still in the upper 80s, that one spot there on the side anywhere around McKinnon Airport, eastern Glenn County. Kind of interesting. Still nationally, we got the tornado watches here in play as well. So make sure if you're watching from a national standpoint, you have multiple ways to get alerts. It's not something we probably have to go on for here. Something just took a turn for the worse, like a tornado emergency, which is unexpected here in this type of setup. But there's tornado watches. There are tornado watches in play. And as we look ahead over tomorrow, will be threats further off toward the east and enhanced risk all the way from East Alabama through areas around Philadelphia. Very unusual for this time of year. More about the wind, but could have some tornadoes in there as well. And as I look here right now, we're just getting an update on this warning for areas of Colquitt, as well as Irwin, Tipp, Turner, and Worth County. They just dropped Ben Hill out of it. This warning is still going officially at 11:15, but I'm about to wrap the coverage for now. But the latest information on this warning here out of that Tallahassee office there in Leon County, and they're responsible here for that part of our region with the warning issue and process. It's telling me here that this warning is still in play. Warning number 522 for the year. At 10:27, severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 11:15 for West Central Irwin, Southern Turner, as well as Colquitt, Tipton, and Worth counties. At 10:27 there, we still had this threat along the line from near Ashburn and near Camilla, moving east at 30 miles an hour. So Tipton, Moultrie, Ashburn, Sylvester, Norman Park, Dolan, Ty, Phillipsburg, Unionville, Riverside, Terrell, Sly, Sycamore, Berlin, Funston, Sumner, Ellington, Greenville State Park, all under this threat. So still got to be careful there, obviously. Still got to be careful. We continue to give you guys the very latest. So, again, I know that warning from Mitchell goes away here at 45 past the hour. Let me just check here again our scans. Let's check our scans again here. Northwest of Moultrie on Durham. Still seeing one with a 50 in there. That'd be the area where it makes most sense for them to get down to the surface. Some of the other areas, not so much. So just be careful here, obviously. Maybe Adele later on. I mean, it's about an hour out from Adele. So, just be careful. Giving you an early heads up around Adele there in Cook County. Could have some stronger winds coming on in toward that area over the next little bit. You see some purples in here, indicative of some heavier downpours, and then just overall stronger activity. So these warnings still stay in effect. I'm not seeing much out of them, but they still could be dangerous storms. We'll keep you updated if necessary with more coverage. But I know you have the interactive video at cloudweather.com/radar that gives you the information. You also have Facebook, Casey Cloud X here. We'll post more warnings if they get issued. Cloud Weather, and then Twitter at Cloud Casey. That's if we don't have to come on. Of course, if we go on, we'll be on all the sources here, all the streams per se. Facebook, Casey Cloud Reacts, Cloud Weather, Twitter at Cloud Casey, YouTube at Cloud Weather, Twitch there at Cloud Weather. So trying to keep you guys safe and informed, keep you advised here on this Sunday night. For now, thanks so much for tuning in, but still make sure you're following your severe thunderstorm precautions here. Let's tell this up one more time. Those yellow areas, those ones that are included in the boxes that are yellow. Just remember that you want to seek shelter inside that 30 building and stay away from these windows. And then whenever lightning's around anywhere within our 62 counties or anywhere in the country or the world for that matter, just make sure you're going indoors whenever that lightning threat is around your area, because that can be deadly here from time to time. But for now, thanks so much for tuning in. Stay safe out there.